breaking news in Washington. The Democrats are this close to getting their climate change agenda passed, with senators up all night in the so-called vote-a-rama this morning, where senators are offering amendments to elements of Biden's Build Back Better agenda that have been stalled for a year. The Senate voted 51-50 last night to move this bill forward, with Vice President Kamala Harris deciding vote to pass a reconciliation package, which will increase taxes and raise $700 billion over 10 years, largely to pay for Obamacare subsidies and climate change new rules. Texas Senator Ted Cruz is on the Judiciary Committee. He voted against this bill, and he joins me now with the very latest. Senator, thanks very much for being here this morning.
Well, good morning, Maria. Good to be with you.
Can you tell us about the amendments and the happenings right now in the Senate? Will this bill pass?
Well, sure. We've been up all night, voting all night. We're still in the middle of voting, so I just ran over from the Senate floor to join you for this discussion. But the Democrats are on the verge of ramming through what really is a terrible bill. This bill will hammer manufacturing. It will kill manufacturing jobs in this country. It will hammer small businesses. This bill will drive up gas prices. It has billions in new taxes on U.S. oil and gas production. We introduced amendments trying to take those new taxes out. So all the Democrats say they're worried and want to lower gas prices. They all just voted to raise gas taxes and to raise your price at the pump. This bill creates 87,000 new IRS agents. It doubles the size of the IRS. Those IRS agents are designed to come after you. They're not designed to come after the billionaires and the big corporations. They're designed to come after small businesses and working families across this country. The Democrats are making the IRS bigger than the Pentagon, plus the Department of State, plus the FBI, plus the Border Patrol combined. The IRS is going to be bigger. This is a massive power grab. And I got to say, it's amazing, Maria, watching these Democrats amendment after amendment, common sense amendments, they vote against. I introduced an amendment to say don't create 87,000 new IRS agents. Every Democrat voted no. I just introduced an amendment to say that Joe Biden and the federal government should not be able to sell oil from our strategic petroleum reserve to the Chinese communists. Biden sold over 2 million barrels of oil to the Chinese communists. Every Democrat but 4 voted no. They are bound and determined to try to ram this terrible bill through.
I want to get your take on a so-called wraparound amendment. I know that there were also amendments to try to get the Democrats to acknowledge that there is a wide open border. Will any of those amendments stick? And what about a wraparound amendment at the end of the day that deletes all the other amendments that you would try to get through?
Well, right now, it may be that the Democrats don't even need to force through a wraparound amendment because they've managed to keep their side. They've kept party discipline where all of even the supposed moderates have been willing to vote against common sense bills. For example, as I said, every single Democrat, all of them voted to increase gas taxes. So the next time you see a Mark Kelly in Arizona or Raphael Warnock in Georgia or a Maggie Hassan in New Hampshire or a Michael Bennet in Colorado or Catherine Cortez Masto in Nevada say, hey, we want gas prices to be lower, you know they are lying because they stood up and voted, raise the gas taxes, stick it to the producers, make our consumers pay more at the pump. That's the end result they want, and their voting record proves it.
Well, it looks like they're going to be successful in this. And do you believe that taxes will go higher on most Americans? What about that promise that taxes would not be impacted for anybody making $400,000 or less?
Well, it's a flat-out lie. The Congressional Budget Office analyzed this bill, and it concluded a very large portion of it would be borne by people making under $400,000 a year, that just about every group of taxpayers would see their taxes go up. The Democrats know this, and by the way, we had amendments to say, let's not have any of these taxes fall on people making under $400,000. The Democrats all voted no. They are lying, and you know what they're counting on? They're counting on the corporate media just carrying their water for them and saying, oh, your taxes are not going up. It's not the truth.
Wow.
They know it's not the truth, but they expect the corporate media not to tell people. So unless they're watching your show or a handful of others, they're not hearing what's actually in this terrible bill.
That is absolutely extraordinary. I want to turn to the FBI and your committee's testimony with Christopher Wray testifying in front of your committee. Let's run this clip. I want you to explain it. Watch this.
The FBI agents were disciplined or reprimanded after that disastrous case and the misconduct that led to every defendant being acquitted or having a mistrial on every charge?
Senator, I can't comment on any personnel matter. I can tell you that that case, as I understand it, is now pending a retrial, as I understand it.
Well, the special agent in charge of that case has now been sent to D.C., to the Washington, D.C. office, and now leads the investigation regarding January 6th. Is that correct?
That doesn't sound right to me.
So the guy in charge got promoted and is now in charge of the January 6th investigation.
The guy in charge of the whole Detroit field office is now in charge of the whole Washington field office.
That is astonishing.
Senator, what were you saying there? What did the FBI do in terms of the Gretchen Whitmer situation in Michigan? Was that entrapment?
It was. Look, unfortunately, one of the worst outcomes we've seen, both from the Barack Obama administration and now the Joe Biden administration, has been the deep politicization and weaponization of the Department of Justice and the FBI. They've turned the machinery of government and law enforcement into a weapon to attack their political enemies. And in the case of Gretchen Whitmer, we all remember in the fall of 2020, right before the presidential election, big announcement that they were prosecuting people involved in a plot to kidnap and murder the Democratic governor of Michigan. And everyone who heard that was horrified and said, wow, these guys should go to jail for a long time. Well, they took them to trial, 4 defendants. 2 of them were acquitted on every count. The other 2 got mistrials, so not a single defendant got convicted on a single count, and the principal defense for all 4 of them was entrapment, that it was the FBI who had suggested the plot, that when the defendant said, we don't want to do it, they want it out, it was the FBI who said, no, you must go through. And it is an incredible dereliction of duty for law enforcement to be entrapping people into criminal conduct for political ends. And the fact that the guy in charge of the whole thing was literally transferred to Washington, was promoted after the case was thrown out as a complete failure, and was put in charge of the January 6th investigations. That is astonishing, as I said at the hearing. And this FBI, this Department of Justice, is content to remain thoroughly political and partisan, and it's deeply, deeply concerning.
Well, that is incredible. What can you do about this? I mean, this is on top of the Russia collusion lie and then the impeachment trial where the FBI sat on Hunter Biden's laptop.
That's exactly right. What we've got to do is win control of the House and Senate so that we have the authority to engage in oversight. You know, it was interesting. The director of the FBI was there for 1 round of questions. At the end of the round of questions, we were supposed to have a second round. He said, no, I got a plane to catch. I'm sorry, I got to go. He didn't want another round of questions. As Chuck Grassley observed, wait a second. You've got your own plane. The FBI has a private jet just for you, so your plane to catch is you just don't want to have any more investigation. We need serious oversight. We need accountability. The people who have been political and partisan need to be fired, and if they've broken the law, they need to be prosecuted. And unfortunately, the Democrats in the Senate have zero interest in doing that, and wow. The Biden administration has, if possible, less than zero interest in doing that. But the rule of law matters, and this is not meant to be the enforcement arm of the Democratic National Committee.
Because the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away.